Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience. Welcome, episode 41 of Flyover State of Film. Guys, we're here. It's almost the end of January, or basically the end of January. We're either still doing our New Year's resolutions, we gave up, or we're starting some new ones now. But in that, I'm with my boys. I got Joe, Yusef, Brian. Guys, pop them if you got them. If not, like Yusef and Brian, be old.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Guys, I'm being really original this year. I think I'm about dieting, starting a diet. I think I'm gonna go back to the gym. So anybody who wants to join me, man, just hit me up. We'll just,
I can't wait to log
like a team, like a group.
I can't wait to log my ounce losses and shakes on Twitter every day, and on Instagram you'll see it post.
And if I don't make progress quickly, when you see me, definitely tell me I still look like a fat piece of shit. Be like, wow, you still fucking look like trash, man. What are you doing? I thought you fucking loser. What are you working on? Like, so be sure to do that.
Listen, my resolution is to shave my balls consistently, and I'll be posting about that every day.
Yeah, I like the idea of the caveman diet, but then like I like cereal a lot, and that I don't think cavemen were eating cereal back then, so that kind of just stops me at actually doing it.
Excuse me, they had Fruity Pebbles. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
It's funny you said they didn't have cereal back then. You guys, we're not here to talk about diets. We're a movie-based podcast. We have a lot of great opinions that you can find all over Twitter. But there hasn't been great news out right now. It's January. It's slow. But there is one thing that happened. One gem that came out not too long ago. There's going to be a National Treasure 3 movie. They're doing a third.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys just want to talk about it for a second, or we can just jump right into it. Go ahead, talk about it.
Okay, so this is the thing with National Treasure 3. National Treasure, really fun. Probably like Nicolas Cage's like 13th best movie. But I want my boy to get paid. I want him to get another big contract. So bring on National Treasure 3 because A, it's going to be immaculate. It's just going to be amazing. But also, he needs his big contracts and he needs to keep funding the IRS. So I'm all for just giving Nick Cage his payday. But that's really why National Treasure 3 is a beautiful thing.
Those are all solid points. All solid points. Is everyone returning?
Oh, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Who is everyone?
Well, Diane Kruger.
John Voight.
Helen Mirren.
Harvey Keitel.
And the fucking guy who got trapped on the roof from The Hangover.
Pegg, Ving Rhames,
Tyrese Gibson,
Tom Hanks, right? Because he found the Da Vinci Code. That's these movies, right? Same.
All right,
crossover.
So much better than Da Vinci Code.
They got a third. The thing is, remember that fucking Tom Hanks already made a third one of those and nobody cared? He's made 3 of those movies.
What's this? Wait, Demons and the Angels and Demons, right? Is the other one?
Yeah.
And then Inferno, right?
Oh, I never saw Inferno.
I never saw either. I only ever saw the Da Vinci Code and it sucked.
I read Angels and Demons in high school. Shout out Mr. Metzger. That was a good book.
Yeah, my mom read it when we were in high school too.
Fuck.
I don't have any love for National Treasure. It's not my thing. I'm more of I already have Indiana Jones and I already have The Mummy. So like I just did not have any like room in my life for National Treasure. I watched the first one. I was like, and then I never saw the second one. So
it came out at a perfect time of a perfect age. Like these are really fun. I remember going to the theater to see both of them. But yeah, it was always a good play on like the Indiana Jones trope. Like
yeah,
it could be done worse.
I'm not saying there's no room for other adventure movies because obviously there are. I just never like struck a chord with me because I just already had something else that kind of filled that spot. So.
I really enjoyed the first one. The second one, I couldn't remember what happened.
It's goofy. It's goofier the second one because clearly they were just like, we need to write a sequel.
Well, and that was the time when Pirates of the Caribbean was big, and Disney was like, franchises. We're doing franchises, and they thought they could do their own. And then they were just like, you know what? Let's just do Star Wars and Marvel instead. But now those are over, essentially, for at least a little while, or at least like slowed down. Like Marvel's not over, but it's pared back, and it's going to be a couple years probably till we see another Star Wars. So now's the time to bring back, hash out some of those franchises.
Yeah. I wonder,
gargoyles, Disney. Now's the time. Make gargoyles.
What I wonder with National Treasure's inception was like, cool. We got Bruckheimer. He struck it on Pirates of the Caribbean, and then when he was like, okay, and he went to his go-to, and he's like, well, I did other movies outside of Disney with Nicolas Cage. I got a franchise for him, Disney. And they had him in a contract, and then they made Sorcerer's Apprentice like a decade later, and that bombed. With Jay Baruchel.
Yeah. I'm more about the Vampire's Assistant.
I love John C. Reilly's Assistant.
That's a weird ass movie, The Vampire's Assistant.
That's a fun.
On Netflix now.
That's a fun movie that I wish had its like that was piggybacking up on that like tween.
The problem was it's very clearly a first movie and it needed like followed up. You know, it was like one of those where it's all set up and no real pay. The payoff is kind of light. You're like they were definitely expecting to make a franchise with that one, and they did not.
That's like that's like all those movies, and it's like an Aragon or whatever they're called. Right. Like they have these one movies because making books in the like YA in the movies was like real hot with like Harry Potter, and
some of them got 3 movies deep and just bailed. Like what was that, Divergent? They were just like,
I feel like that's because those movies, they got those like slates, and all 3 movies are made up front with the like buying the license of the property, and they're just like, all right, you're getting 3. Here's fucking
that's gonna
600
Avatar. That's what's gonna happen to Avatar. The fourth Avatar movie is gonna come straight to Disney Plus.
One of my favorite Hollywood stories is Divergent going into their 4th movie, and they'll be like, well, it's going to be a TV series now, and the actors all going like, yeah, we didn't sign up for this, and bailing, and it just crumbled.
I also, similarly, recently, if you saw, like, anytime any of the Rise of Skywalker cast was asked if they were going to be on a Disney Plus show, they were all like, nope. Like, all of them, not only, like, denied it, but like shot it down in a way you knew they thought it like was disgusting. Like Oscar Isaac looked like he wanted to puke.
I don't know. I think the only way to give Kelly Marie Tran justice is Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, exactly. So respectful. Hell yeah.
So Joe,
put her in National Treasure 3. I'm into that.
Yeah, let's pitch then.
Let's go for it. So I do want to hear your since National Treasure is a ridiculous concept, I do want to hear your National Treasure pitches for the 3rd one. They could be as bonkers as you want them to be, in tune, however you want them. I just want to hear them, and I'll go last. So, Yusuf, give me your pitch.
Show us all up. I get it.
Yeah, so I have the opening scene. Opening 2 minutes here.
Cool.
So we open on a jail cell. Government agents walk in with files in their hands. A voice says, "What do you guys want now?" We only see the shins and lips as he's hidden in the shadows of the cell. The agent says the target is currently in his Caribbean island. attending his exotic zoo. We need you to break into his security-clad compound and steal the shrunken heads, jewelry, 50 cars, and more importantly, the dinosaur skull. The voice asks, Dinosaur skull? Who the hell has a dinosaur skull? The agent laughs and throws the file, slides across the room, and a hand stops and the name is revealed. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage as I don't know what's the name of the
Ben
national
Gates.
treasure as
Benjamin
Ben
Franklin Gates.
has to break into Nicolas Cage's compound and get the government all the money back. And his team is gonna be called the Evasion Team. It's gonna be composed of Wesley Snipes, Stephen Baldwin, Fat Joe, and Ja Rule. And all of them are just working down their debt. The government.
Oh man, this is
Who's directing?
amazing.
Jerry Bruckheimer is gonna
Yeah,
act.
What's
coming
John
back,
Turtle?
maybe.
Is John Turtle Cub coming back? Or is it Jeremy
Turtle Pop.
That's my
Dude, that's hysterical. That's amazing. That is the movie I want to see. Could we just get like Nick Cage being a villain and being the most like craziest, like eccentric, like the character of himself that he already is on that island?
So he's always gonna be dressed up like that photo when he was in Russia.
With the fucking
Yeah, he's every time like sweating his ass off because he's in the
No,
Caribbean.
I like him in the leather with all the stud. Like he looks like a biker from an '80s movie. Like
see.
I like that outfit.
For Yusuf's movie, I'm picturing one scene of him in his like jungle lair, kind of with the leather on, actually doing like a Sam Rockwell type dance,
Okay.
dancing around.
Or do it up like Island of Dr. Moreau style. Have him all wrapped in white with the white paint on and the big hat. Like I could see that too.
That would be amazing. So,
And
God,
he needs a mini me then. If you're gonna
Oh.
do that.
That's fucking great.
that'd be great. TJ, what do you got?
Oh, okay. Well, if you wanted the good stuff, I figured you'd go to me. So yeah, National Treasure 3, guys. This one is a special one. Kind of set up a scene, kind of set up the plot. It's basically Benjamin Gates being the guy that he is and being the historical value that he always, values. He's sitting down for breakfast one morning and he has one of the original boxes of Cheerios. The one of the originals that was ever created. Pours into the milk. There's a chemical reaction because Benjamin Gates is the type of guy who puts milk first in the bowl before he puts a cereal in, which is a fucking maniac.
That's a maniac, man.
The chemical reaction.
That's an insane.
And the Cheerios somehow spell out. They're supposed to be alphabets. Fuck, I fucked the whole thing up already.
It
just
spells
says,
out. What is he trying to say?
That's a Family Guy joke. Brian, my alphabets are telling me something. Ooh, it's a Family Guy joke.
No, so yeah, the alphabets spell out Brea. And then he has, of course, he always sees a message in something. Eventually, he puts the words together. You get Nicolas Cage as Benjamin Gates going to the La Brea tar pits because in his message from the alphabets, he discovered what's he do on things? He puts lemon juice and heats it up and stuff like that. That the gate to the journey of the center of the earth is through the La Brea tar pits.
Hell yeah, land of the lost, baby.
I love it.
Benjamin Gates, being the guy that he does, he's gonna sneak into La Brea tar pits at night because the La Brea tar pits is no like security, but is there? There's 2 security guards in LA, 2 national security guards, Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn. Okay.
National security?
This is just because he saw Bad Boys and wants a national security sequel.
Yeah,
So now,
because they're mentioning all my favorite things.
You're gonna have a comedic
hell.
adventure, a half of a movie of Nicolas Cage and his crew versus Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn. Martin Lawrence might put a fat suit on just to have homage to himself. They're gonna have some kooky adventure. Then Nicolas Cage and Martin Lawrence and Steve Zahn, the team comes together, and eventually they do go into La Brea tar pits, into the journey of the center of the earth. You know who the villain is? Who's been down on the journey of the center of the earth for years? mad because he couldn't get back out and plotting ways to take down the upper world while he's in the underworld. Brendan Fraser. He's been stuck down there since the first Journey to the Center of the Earth movie. So now you have a combination of 3 movies.
I thought maybe he was in Encino Man.
Oh, and then TJ, you could introduce The Rock into it later, who's just
he's in the sequel.
He's busy, and Brendan Fraser might kill him right off the bat.
Not when this thing makes a cool billion.
So now
he
he's
won't
gonna
be busy anymore.
National Treasure 3, The National Security, directed by Todd Phillips. He's going back to his comedic roots. He's done doing the serious stuff. He's going back to his comedic roots.
Well, Joker was pretty action-packed, so I get it.
Yeah.
You really fumbled it in the end, TJ. You really had.
TJ, I'm into it.
You didn't mention Benjamin Gates versus a T-Rex, so I can't give you full credit because you didn't go Land of the Lost Dinosaurs. We need to get there.
Well, he is a pet T-Rex.
What's he looking for down there? Is there some sort of an ancient artifact, or
No, he just wants to find the Journey to the Center of the Earth.
I guess the Land of the Lost is the artifact. That's fair.
Yeah.
He wants to prove something. Nicolas Cage has reasons to prove things.
Well, the T-Rex is part of a labyrinth. That's such an important, integral part of National Treasure movies are the puzzles.
Oh, yeah. So it would be a T-Rex would be like the Minotaur in the labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Controlled
That's fair.
by
I like that.
Yeah.
That's decent.
Cool. I love both these
Brian.
pitches. Brian, bring it on.
Give me your
I already put my car. You save me to last because I don't know shit about this franchise, but I kind of like the vibe that we're getting here. We got the meta one with Yusef. We got taken prehistoric, and I think my idea fits right in there because what is the thing that Benjamin Franklin Gates needs to do, to complete his arc in stealing history and knowing history and then learning about his history? He needs to become history. He needs to travel back in time and meet the founding fathers. And that's what I think the third movie should be. Actually interact with the history that he's used to studying and stealing and being an expert on. He needs to hit a time machine and go the fuck back and actually hey, are you George Washington? That's crazy, man. That's my Nicolas Cage. George Washington is pretty good, right?
Can I layer in? Could I get in?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
So in your time travel pitch, could we get a little real here and maybe Bill and Ted it a little bit? And he has to go back and he kind of explains what's going on in modern politics. And the founding fathers are like, what the fuck? What's that? He brings them back
to embarrass Trump.
You can cast the founding father as the
George Trump's shut up, you've got bad breath. And then all the hillbillies are like, yeah, fuck you, George Washington, and your wooden ass teeth. And then that's it. That's just the end. It's it doesn't work. He fails.
But then Ben Gates is like, hey, man, there's a code on the back of George Washington's wool teeth, and that tells you that there would be an idiot in charge, and it's not Taft. So
you can cast the 4 fathers as the 4 leads from Hot Tub Time Machine: Cusack, Cordry, Craig
Robinson. Craig Robinson as Benjamin Franklin. They're like, Nicolas Cage is like, man, it's crazy. In history class, they totally wrote out the fact that you're black, dude.
You don't wear glasses.
They just made Ben Franklin an old white guy. It's like, what? You just find out that Ben Franklin was black. It's just a well-known fact.
And Ben Gates keeps trying to connect. They're like, all right, brother. And then he's like, you just stop that, man.
You need to stop calling me brother, man. That's not.
Oh man, this is how I always talk.
Abraham.
This is totally natural. I would have voted for Obama for a 3rd term.
All right.
So they did Benjamin like they did Jesus. They just painted him white and they gave him maps.
Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
I'm gonna have to ask you guys to mute your mics. I got a little pitch for you. Appreciate it. Let me. Oh wait, no, that was my mic, not my headphones. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay.
Am I muted?
Okay. The world's most renowned treasure hunter has lost his love, the fortune, but duty calls one more time. We're on a trip to visit the Rangers ballpark. Ben Gates sees an insignia carved into the seat. I-11. Could it be? Ponders Benjamin. Why, yes. Carved in it, et facit, translation in Latin. I did it. I being the ninth letter of the alphabet, and 11 being 11. National treasure, conspiracy of tragedy.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
So this is Ben Gates uncovering the truth of 9/11.
In the Rangers Stadium.
Because George Bush owned the Rangers, or was like the GM or something.
This movie's gonna validate 9/11 truthers. That's amazing. I love this turn.
This podcast got very conspiracy heavy.
That's just where this
needs to George Bush, though. Like, or
yeah.
George Bush is this evil genius.
No, I don't think he has anything to do with it. I think there's a scene in it where he goes to George, and George is like, man, it goes deeper. And he keeps going and going. And it actually was the ghost of Richard Nixon.
Damn. We both have interacted with historical presidents. I like that. I do think both mine and Joe's pitch is missing a T-Rex, though. So maybe we need to like balance it out a little bit. Fuck it. Let's just do another night. Let's make the new National Treasure also a Night at the Museum sequel. And then we can have all the shit in there.
Well, listen, Brian, that follows my model that Nicholas should be in all films. So
yeah,
I'm with you.
That's a good choice.
So
I mean,
anyway,
he makes like 1 out of every 7 or 8 movies is good. So,
well, there are some movies that are so good though, but like the lead's like poorly cast.
Guys, vote in the description below on the pinned comment. What movie pitch you guys want to see made?
I can't believe Yusuf stepped on your awesome segue.
That was the best segue I've ever had on this show.
I know, that was like the most natural segue Joe's ever done. Yusuf was just, nope.
I have a thing. I have a thing now that I step over Joe's segues because he always steps over segues, but he doesn't know he's doing it.
I've been getting
Take
so
it away,
good at
Yusuf.
segue too.
What?
Take it away.
Oh, is mine? Wasn't it Brian?
Yeah, well, Joe's segue didn't. Yeah, so a segue didn't work.
But Joe segued to you, so I was.
It was
so
segue. I
thought. I wanted to ask the guy because there's always like articles of this actor was almost this, like Will Smith was almost Neo, blah blah blah. But it's always
was Marty McFly. Not almost, he was Marty McFly.
And then they told him, "Hey, you suck." And
yeah, they were like, "Oh, you know what? Instead of on second thought, get fucked."
Thanks for nothing. But I wanted to ask the guys, like, pick a perfect role, meaning the actor he is that role. He killed that role. It's one of his best roles, whatever you want to call it, and recast him and say get fucked, like Brian said, and pick the actor that you think either would have done equally or even better than the actor did in that moment. Since I made fun of Joe, how about you start?
All right. I found this one actually kind of like hard, especially like the way you rephrase it, like something like you really like that's well loved and really loved.
I found it hard.
Puts a lot of pressure on it.
I think this person
that when I looked at, I was like, oh, but he's great in that. I wouldn't want to take him out of that or her. Really, I was like, I love this movie. I love them in that, you know.
So I really don't like this lead actor as a person, but I want to see Billy Crystal and Annie Hall over Woody Allen.
Oh, okay. That's a good pick.
I think the movie would play exactly the same. It would have the same impact, and I wouldn't feel so dirty after it. Like I don't like I don't like Woody Allen, even regardless if he's made great movies.
Does Billy still have the underage girlfriend though?
No, that's the whole. That's a big driving factor. But I also think Billy Crystal would knock it out of the park, and this is years before When Harry Met Sally, and before he was like a Billy Crystal character. He was just like a working actor as a mime in like Spinal Tap.
He was probably when he was doing like soap.
Yeah.
Is the City Slickers good?
I don't know. Curly's Gold?
I haven't seen it in a really long time.
Yeah, me neither. I knew.
And as we've learned on this episode, sometimes time is not kind to movies.
I last time I watched City Slickers, UPN was still a network.
Wow, that's good. I don't think I've seen it since it was like on home video when it was new. So that's probably 20
when
plus
UPN
years.
was a network.
Yeah.
But Billy definitely is a great pick for that movie, and I can see him with Diane Keaton having great chemistry. Hey, that's a great pick, Joe.
I never saw Annie Hall.
It's a good movie. Annie Hall's are generally, if you're gonna watch any Woody Allen movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I just remember Jimmy Fallon and Fever Pitch talking about it.
I like Fever Pitch too.
Yeah.
Welcome to Rom-Com Talk. Flyover.
Yeah, Diane Keaton is like the ultimate, like quirky girl. Like, oh,
yeah,
she's the what do they call that? The manic pixie dream girl.
Manic pixie dream girl, yeah.
She really.
Except that she has an agency of her own, so that kind of negates the. But yeah, she's that archetype.
Well, Maud, sure. I actually think Maud's the real manic pixie dream girl.
Truth.
TJ, where did you land on your recasting?
Oh yeah, I got two. I just figure I'll put them both out, and then you guys can decide which one you'd rather see. I didn't go of era like some of you guys did. I went a little off, but and also, not so much great films or like. Well, it's a well-loved movie. It's also a movie in my heart. But Rudy is a movie that I loved growing up. It made me think that at some point, being the size that I am, I could be in the NFL or be on a college team or just maybe get through high school all 4 years without getting hurt. But
we can all dream.
Yeah, we can all dream. The story's a little off. Sean Astin was cast as a lead, real small guy, about the same size as me, maybe a little bit smaller. A couple of the athletes in the day, Joe Montana, had things to say about the story and how it wasn't real enough and stuff like that. So I figure we'll recast Rudy. We'll bring a guy in there that really has maybe the athletic ability to do it. We'll change some things up. But I'm going to recast it with The Rock. The Rock's going to come in as Rudy. We might have to blindside him a little bit because his size is up there. You know what I mean? So we'll maybe make him a little stupider. We'll get like a white savior.
Oh!
Change the story a little bit.
I was gonna say you're talking about radio, man.
Jeez.
No, but he has the athletic ability to do it. Well, he can if they can lift him up.
So did radio.
Sean Astin was supposed to be a defensive end for
that one big too.
Top 10 college.
Wait, Sean Astin was a defensive end.
And as Rudy Rudiger was a defensive end or an outside linebacker.
I never knew that.
So he's going up against offensive tackles. So, The Rock will make him, because he's as big, we'll just make him stupider. And then my other one was, I just thought it'd be fun to see. We're going to replace Doug Bradley.
Wait. I like how you said stupider. Like you're saying he's already stupid. You just want him.
He's kind of stupid.
No, I mean The Rock. The Rock.
And also, he's like, he has nothing on his slate right now after all those movies he's done. Well, he's waiting for Black Adam, I think, so he's got time to do it. But also, I want to replace Doug Bradley as Pinhead with Steve Buscemi. I think that would be a visual spectacle.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Hear his voice, hear him control.
Watery eyes.
Yeah.
Can he keep the bags?
Yeah, and the tooth, keep the teeth as they are.
Pull the bags down even more, and you put little pins in them. He's Pinhead.
But those
come on, man. Buscemi.
So yeah, those are my recasts, and if I had to, because there's
I'm so glad that TJ took this seriously. I'm glad I spent time thinking about this.
Well, there's so many roles. Like I was like, oh, Ghostbusters. Oh no, they already had cast for that. I'm like, all right, well, I love.
Yeah, there's four really funny women you can cast in the Ghostbusters.
No one's
seen that. 4 little kids, apparently.
The Stranger Things?
I would have loved to have seen 4 old guys, just like, what is that movie? Old Dogs, but they're Ghostbusters.
Oh, Wild Hogs?
Wild
Wild
Hogs.
Oh yeah, Wild Hogs is great.
Oh my God, Brian, what are you recasting?
I'm kidding, guys. Wild Hogs. It's,
Hey guys, I'm gonna replace Kevin Spacey with Max von Sydow or whatever that hack ass joke is that everybody always makes. Yeah, awesome, 10,000 likes, guys. All right. Anyway, so my real answer is I did go back and think of like what's movies I love that have problematic people in, and like low hanging fruit is to just like take Kevin Spacey out of Seven and put somebody else in there. Or
I
something.
thought about a Usual Suspects just to really fuck with everyone.
But I also thought I was like, what about Braveheart? You could take out Mel Gibson. I love Braveheart, and Mel Gibson's great in Braveheart. There's no doubt about it. But you could take him out and replace him with Liam, like Rob Roy era Liam Neeson.
Ooh.
Barely even change it. Just let it ride, and it would be just as good. You wouldn't lose anything from it. Liam Neeson could give that speech on the horseback and shit. He could do that.
Is he
It
Scottish?
was Oscar Schindler and shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I like that one. My second choice, it's funny that TJ brought up Sean Astin. I'm going to take Sean Astin and put him in the Marky Mark role in Boogie Nights. That's my other pick.
Shit. I would love to see Sean Astin with his
Sean Astin is Dirk Diggler.
Dude, if I could grow up knowing that I was gonna see Mikey from the Goonies pull out a 13-inch schlong, I'd be like, oh, I'm sad. Good.
How good he is at playing vulnerable, but and kind of naive. Like he'd be great, and he would have been. He's age appropriate. He's the same age as Mark Wahlberg. He'd have been totally age appropriate for it.
Yeah,
they're the same age.
Great price. Yeah, and he's coming off.
Sean Astin hasn't aged well then.
He aged like a human being who doesn't get up and pump iron and think about beating minorities at 3 in the morning.
He looked great.
Mark Wahlberg.
He looked good in 50 First Dates. All right, man.
That's super normal, bro.
Yeah, 50 First Dates was like 20 years ago.
Jesus Christ, man. But I mean, that's actually
his more recent reference would be Bob from Stranger Things. Basically, he has my body type. So
I thought he looked normal. Like he looked like how Sean Astin should look.
Right, he looked like a man who aged normally is what he looked like.
He looked like he'd be called Bob in Stranger Things.
He would look more like he definitely gives off a more vulnerable look as the Dirk Diggler role. Like he knows someone could actually take advantage of him. Like Mark Wahlberg.
He looked like a guy who
probably played a little less stupid and a little more naive. You know what I mean? Because Dirk Diggler's pretty stupid.
Oh, jeez. Drugs.
His mom yelling at him, but it's Sean. Oh man, now I'm all seeing is okay.
All you're seeing is Sean Astin's wiener.
Kinda.
He'd be like, what's the line? Lord, he'd be like, he'd be in a scene with Julianne Moore. He'd be like, well, I can't make you come, but I can come for you.
Hey, man, that's my wife. I'm busy right now, man.
I'll close it out. I'll close it out, but I think Brian won. So I'm gonna recast Jules. I'm gonna recast Jules from Pulp Fiction.
Wow.
With Denzel or Washington.
Oh,
because I feel like Denzel, like Jules comes across like a cool.
A man.
Yeah. I dare you. I don't know. I feel like Jules comes across like just like this cool motherfucker, but Denzel would have brought like scary energy. Like I would have been afraid of Jules during that speech and during that. Every time he whipped out a gun, I think he would have delivered, like, obviously Jules is, like, one of the greatest. Jackson.
Say what again?
Denzel would have been, he always goes, okay, now say what? Okay.
Say what again? Okay.
You know what's crazy about that? Like, if you replaced Samuel with Denzel, it doesn't change the trajectory of like Denzel's fucking career. They probably do the same shit he did. You know what I mean? Because Samuel Jackson's obviously being fucking like super charismatic and just like out there. Just
definitely fuck up the trajectory. I don't think we'd have the Sam Jackson we have now without Pulp Fiction. Though.
I don't think Sam Jackson has a career. Like as big of a career.
I mean, I think he would break through eventually, but he'd be more like a really recognizable character actor. He wouldn't be the Sam Jackson we have today without
He'd
it.
he'd be who's the stepdad in he'd be Keith David.
Fair, yeah,
He'd be
I
Keith
can
David.
see that.
I don't think he would fall so much. Like yeah, obviously the role was gigantic for him, but I don't think we could felt that big. So that's why I don't think it would be like a huge like, hurdle.
I don't know. I feel like it would have.
Who's
Yes.
gonna do those venture capital cards commercials?
I feel like the only roles that he would have gotten, like the movies would have come out in January if he didn't get Pulp Fiction.
And also he probably wouldn't have done any of Tarantino's other films.
The Kangol
Right.
hat.
Kangol
hat stock would just be non-existent.
I just want Yusuf to know that if it didn't happen naturally, I was gonna step on his segue anyway, because that's how we do it around here. When we recognize each other's segues, we fuck them up. We make sure they don't work. So anyway, it's my turn.
I like that.
My topic. It's January, and we all know that January is a dumping ground for shitty movies. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with loving a good shitty movie. Sometimes a movie comes out, and yeah, it's definitely not good. We all know it. But it's still fun, or maybe it's just like the right kind of bad. These guys, they love bad movies.
Yeah.
I have a little more of a refined taste.
Ooh,
But so guys, what are
I have a
some
Criterion DVDs.
What are some January releases that got later you would say should be on Criterion release? Which ones were that good?
All right, I'll start off with this one. Let's get my bad movies out of the fucking way. I have 3. I already mentioned one earlier with my pitch. National Security came out in January. I always have fucking fun with that movie. Steve Zahn, for me, is one of those actors. I'll probably watch anything he ever does. Bad Monkey, I don't give a shit. But another one for me, which is a part of, it's not necessarily a bad movie. I just don't think it's not for everybody. But I also think it's part of one of the greatest trilogies of all time. And that's Next Friday, came out in 2000, January 12th. I fucking love Next Friday. Mike Epps pretty much started his fucking career for him other than stand-up comedy. His first film he did, other than like small roles and stuff like that. I don't want to do one yet. I'm going to save this special one for a shout-out in case one of you doesn't do it, specifically for one of you. And then horror movies, I like them all. Shitty, good, bad, monster. Darkness Falls. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this. It's one of those really shitty horror early 2000s January movies, but it's basically like a woman technically was like a tooth fairy for a town. A kid goes missing.
I do like vaguely remember this.
Yeah,
actually. Something with a water tower, right?
Yeah, there's a water tower.
Water tower.
Yeah, you only get attacked in the dark by this tooth fairy, like demon wizard that murders you if you ever see her. I fucking love stupid ass. It's like it's about like the time The Ring came out too. So just all those stupid movies.
His big special when he's holding off is Bye Bye Man. He's gonna recommend that to us.
I rewatched
I wouldn't
that.
watch.
I rewatched that for the marathon that I did in horror, and I was like, "Damn,
yeah, it's just
this
there's
is
like
bad."
no actors you
Watch Bye Bye Man.
No, the Darkness Falls.
It's like the peak of like the WB.
You know which one is better? The other one with the ventriloquist dummy.
Dead Silence.
Don't talk or
Dead Silence. I got
Dead Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Dead Silence? The one that James Wan made while he was still waiting to see if Saul got off the ground.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Actually, that's not a
same energy.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but it's like has its moments.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I fuck with all the like January. I mean, there's some good movies, but you gotta pick the ones that aren't that great. But what about you guys? What you got, Joe?
Okay. Kind of like TJ, I have my one main one I want to focus on, and then there's some honorable mentions. When I was looking at the list, I was like, oh shit. So I'm gonna do the honorable mentions first. Shout out to Tremors. Go back and listen to that episode. That was a January release.
Just had its 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Tales from the Crypt Demon Night is a January release. So that fucking
damn,
slaps.
hell yes.
God, I gotta write that down for future thingies.
And a movie that is hysterical parody, one of the most underrated. Don't Be a Menace.
Yes.
South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. I saw that on the list. That movie, like, if you haven't seen that movie, do yourself a favor and watch Don't Be a Menace.
Yes.
With a double feature of CB4.
Yes.
Both just really hysterical parodies of the 90s. But my main one that I did want to focus on is From Dusk Till Dawn. Speaking of Tarantino, releases, I love From Dusk Till Dawn. It's just such a, I think it's such a fun, contained story that I could see it being dumped in January, and people kind of being like, "Oh, that guy from ER, this is weird." Like that's generally the vibe I'm sure people had seeing that. But man, that
not the kind of thing you would have expected him to do at that time in his career.
No.
Like
he wasn't leading the box office. I mean, you have I'm just assuming you have like Quentin Tarantino at the time who they're like the guy who did the Pulp Fiction movie.
I was saying he had done Jackie Brown by then, right? That comes out between Jackie Brown and Kill Bill.
Yeah, so he wrote it. Like True Romance was in there also.
This is Robert Rodriguez.
Well, they kind of co-directed, right? The first half is kind of directed by Quentin. I mean, it feels like that's the one argument I remember that kind of throwing me the first time I saw it too. It does feel like two completely separate movies, but they're both good. They're both like
two separate fucking movies. It's insane.
Yeah,
I think they're. I just love that movie.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's a good shit. That's a good podcast movie.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to do one day. Anyway, that was my most surprising January release to see that. I was like, yeah, that movie just
those
as
are
the
all
kids say,
good
slaps.
picks. Hell yeah. What about you, Steph?
Watch Demon.
I guess
everybody watched Demon Knight for sure. Absolutely.
I guess I read the question wrong because I thought Brian said pick a shitty January movie that you actually like, and you all pick like fun, good movies, especially
Darkness Falls.
Well, yeah, that's true. So I picked a movie that I don't hate, and it's shitty, and it's gonna feel like it's coming out of nowhere, especially the list that you guys gave. But I enjoy 27 Dresses.
Oh, you know what? That was on the lists.
Starring Judy Greer. Period. Nobody else is in that movie. Only Judy Greer.
Is she playing somebody's mom?
No, she's Katherine Heigl's assistant, Sassy.
Sounds like a Judy Greer
assistant.
movie.
Yeah. This would have been right after she was on Arrested Development, so perfect time for a sassy assistant role for her.
Can I just say, Judy Greer was just on Andrea Savage's podcast, Plug Another Podcast, and she was she was hysterical on that podcast.
I love Judy Greer; she's so good.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean it's a shitty rom-com that Katherine Heigl is always the bridesmaid. She has 27 bridesmaids dresses.
I've never seen it.
James Marsden is writer, and he's like writing a piece about her, and she doesn't know, and then they fall in love, and
that's one of the few rom-coms, I'll be honest, I have missed.
I never watched rom-coms. So
we watched them all. Yeah, we watched them all, and I remember when that was released, and that came out.
I feel I adhere to the question. About you, Brian? Did you adhere to the question? Did you take?
I don't know. I guess it depends on how you feel about my picks. Well, definitely one of them is like I picked two movies, and I tried to pick something from this last decade. So I tried to like look around for something a little more recent. These both came out in 2013 in January. One is like I think is legitimately fairly decent and just nobody saw it. And then the other one I think falls a little more into, so my more traditional one that I think is like a kind of bad movie that I kind of love is Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. I don't know if anybody saw that. It's just a fun romp. Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton. But it's just schlocky action horror movie, really fun practical effects, really fun witch makeups. Femke Janssen's really hamming it up as the main witch. I found recently I rewatched it when I watched the new Hellboy movie. The 2019 Hellboy and Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters pair perfectly if you like over the top gore, humor, action schlock. Like if that's kind of like if they hit that niche very very good. So what do you think, Yusef? Does that pass? Is that a bad enough movie? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Why'd
thought
you mute
so.
yourself?
He's eating something.
Yes, that's a very bad movie.
Yeah, good. Now, the other one that I think is actually pretty decent and underseen, and especially I wish people would go back and revisit now because it was so popular, but Mama, Guillermo del Toro produced horror movie, Andy Muschietti directed, Jessica Chastain.
I bought that and I definitely
about two little feral girls who are basically raised by a ghost. It's very, very cool movie.
Yeah, that I actually don't mind January for horror. Like it is not a bad month.
Especially
for
in the
horror.
last couple of years. That's why I kind of put the caveat when I asked the questions. Like, don't give me something that's because I think like didn't Get Out come out in January or February?
That is February.
Yeah, but like more and more they are like moving. They see the value of like putting quality movies out all year long. You don't have to force yourself.
Bad Boys 3 came out in January.
Bad Boys 3 was phenomenal. Everyone should see it, but
no, it wasn't. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
It can't be because it didn't have good characters to start off with. So it can't.
Excited for Hansel and Gretel?
But
I
want to, before we move on to a topic or whatever, I want to say like I think the two of recent years that people started being like, oh, like good movies come out in January. They kept trying is the first Taken was out in January. That was like a big
Quiet
one.
Place. That was January, right?
Was it?
Yeah,
March. I think.
No way.
I think it was March, and then the
wrong.
Gray, and then
I'm not going to check, but it's wrong. But you're wrong.
I'm going to check.
No, don't IMDb while we're on the camera.
Here you go, Yusuf. This will make you happy.
April.
It started limited release for award season in January. Shut up.
No, it premiered in March.
That's how Ryan, here you go.
Online like this, it's embarrassing.
Out of what people argue is the best year for movies, 94, I'm surprised you didn't use Cabin Boy. Cabin Boy was January release.
Oh, I told you I looked mostly in the last decade. So
I saw it on a list, and I was like, this motherfucker is gonna say Cabin Boy.
Cabin Boy would be my pick.
So I put a star next to it.
Classic.
For you.
Go check that, guys. Go back and check out our episode on Cabin Boy.
So goddamn bad.
I love that fucking movie, but it is, it's you gotta.
Some movies we watch, guys, and I see it. I talk about it, and I have never thought about it again or remembered it.
It's like burned into my head. Bad.
Speaking of those, another 5 months, and I'll be like, I've never seen Cabin Boy. What's that?
Sometimes I watch a movie and I think it's good, and then I revisit it, and it is still good. And that happened with Cabin Boy. But let's talk about Running Scared. TJ picked a movie for us, guys.
Yeah, as usual.
I have a note before you start your pitch. It just says Vera.
Yeah, what's she doing in this movie? She's slumming it. This is pre Departed. She's like hadn't broke out yet.
Same year.
I feel like they released this right after Departed came out and hit off so huge. And there's like, oh yeah, we have this woman in it.
Yeah.
This is peak Vera too.
She's very hot in it.
It is.
Go ahead, TJ. What is this movie?
I honestly am not sure. I was on a hot streak for about 2 episodes of my picking with you guys, where you guys either liked or with the movies I picked. So I figured I'd just go back to slumming it, and I picked. I left it up for a game, obviously. Running Scared 1. Paul Walker, Running Scared. I don't know what year it came out. I don't even know who the director
2006.
is.
I was going to say 2006, I think. Yeah.
Oh, the director is a nobody who's literally, this is the only thing
he wrote and directed it, and I'm not surprised it's the only thing he's ever done.
Yeah. I thought this was like a movie that came out in like 2012 that just fell off. Regardless, basically it's about Paul Walker plays a mob hand who is tasked the job of getting rid of a gun that was used during a bad fucking buy or bust or whatever the fuck it was. And then, I mean, there's no much more ways to explain it until we just start talking about it.
Yeah, it's already so convoluted from the beginning. Yeah. It's like they're in this they're in a drug deal that gets raided. They kill the guys who raid the drug deal. The guys who they kill turn out to be cops. His boss hands him the gun to hide, but he doesn't hide the gun. He keeps it because he's going to blackmail his boss later. He has like a stash of money and guns and stuff. And then
this movie rules.
Now wait, now let's get this out.
His neighbor kid uses the gun, steals the gun, and uses it to shoot his dad, who's this like Russian tweaker piece of shit.
But in the raid they use the fucking trope you're making a big mistake, and then he gets
you don't know who
in every fucking movie about
that guy, the character who's like Paul Walker's boss, who's like the son of the mob boss or whatever. He is the like embodiment of every cliche from these movies. He like holds all of them. He has all those kind of lines.
He is, and I say this because I'm Italian. He is the ultimate bad guy guinea next to Chaz Palminteri, who is also playing.
Who's also in this movie.
Like I like this movie. So this movie is supposed to be in Nork 2, which I just find even more ridiculous because like there's no more Italians or Russians or essentially just pure white people.
What wasn't Sopranos at its peak right now?
No,
2006 would have been nearing the end of Sopranos.
Well, they're just riding off of that at that point.
I mean, it's just so funny because
the guy who is the mob boss, who is that guy's on The Sopranos.
Of course,
he's one of. He doesn't have a huge role. He's like a capo, one of Tony's capos.
Being from that area of Jersey, they're supposed to be from. Vera Farmiga's just Jersey accent. It's one of the worst. Next to speaking of Katherine Heigl earlier, she was in that movie where she was supposed to be from Trenton.
Yeah,
and it's also it's like the worst of fake New Jersey.
Vera's got more of a Philly accent going with her in this movie. The whole time I'm listening to her.
Dude, but Paul Walker's accent came and went so much.
There was a moment I thought it was a movie was in Boston until they showed me the license plate. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in Jersey. I forgot. I thought this was
I literally wrote that in my notes. I was like, where is this movie supposed to be from? Because everybody has a different fucking accent.
The funniest thing was I was waiting because they did say Newark several times. I was waiting for someone to be like, yeah, I'm from Newark. But like,
let's break this down real fast in a segment. So this movie is like 6 movies in one, but none of them are good except for one. One's actually pretty.
I actually
my funnest.
Like the craziness of this movie. I have like 3 stories of this movie, but go on, TJ.
This movie like goes for it, but it's none of it lands. Yeah. It's very bad.
First story is exactly as Brian said. There's a drug bust. Cops or people come in and try to rob them. They end up being dead cops. They kill these cops with a gun. This whole movie is based around one gun. And Paul Walker's tasked to get rid of it, but instead, he puts it in the basement, which you assume he's always just done forever, because eventually there's something you learn later. But he just puts him in, he goes to his house, there's kids playing in the basement. They hide for some reason, because it looks like it's a dad who beats his son, basically is how the kid acts.
Oh, Paul Walker is fully a piece of shit in this movie. Like every second of this movie, he is an asshole piece of shit. That's what makes the reveal at the end so goddamn worthless.
Yeah.
You're a cop. Oh, you're good.
Either. But basically, he hides the gun in his wall. His son's friend sees him do it, also with his son. The kids come up. You don't realize that the son's friend, who's also being abused at home, is also Russian, his name is Oleg, takes the gun.
Oh, wait, don't forget to tell his mom's backstory, because we need to sit and hear that for 10 minutes for some reason before she blew herself up. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead. I don't want to get ahead of things.
Oh, yeah, you skipped over that the dad is a fan of John Wayne.
Don't forget about the Duke. And, like he will beat you to death if you say anything bad about John Wayne.
Yeah, but the part of the story that made me mad is like he said, we had 3 DVDs, 3 VHSs, and one of them was Speedy Gonzales. It's like why this motherfucker is not a fan of Speedy Gonzales? Gonzales tattoo, you fucking.
You know what? I'm gonna sound
he takes his shirt off and he's got this giant Speedy Gonzales tattoo on his back and it said.
But then he'd also have to do a Russian
Just as a
Spanish
Reba
accent.
a lot.
Arriba, arriba!
I'm gonna sound like Brian here, but while rewatching this and like 2020 like brain at the end when Paul Walker's like, "You're an American. What is this? All this like cultural shit?" And I was like, "Oh, his dead mother. He's like embracing her cultural music. That's really fucked up." Like sings a bad country song,
and he was
and
getting
I was like,
angry.
Yeah.
He was like, "You're fucking born American. You're an American. Say it. Say you're a fucking American. You're American, right? You're
Say you're fucking
American.
American. You say it. You hate
Like-
your fucking heritage. Fuck your fucking country.
It's funny, like part of me, because I remember like when I saw it, I always liked this movie. Like I talked very positively about this movie until I really rewatched it. But like, I would say like I get the point of that scene, but it's just so heavy-fisted and unnecessary.
Well, Paul Walker's doing like a Mark Wahlberg impression in this whole movie, and he's trying to act like a hard ass every second. He is not likable. He's not relatable. Like, there's never a moment where you're like, yeah, I'm on this dude's side. I hope he gets what he wants.
Not sure.
Well,
Everybody in this movie is a disgusting piece of shit. I even didn't like Vera Farmiga. I was like, you got your kid around this dude? What the fuck
hold
is
on.
wrong with you?
No, she was a nice Jersey piece of trash.
You
Yeah.
said what you gonna say?
I was on his side when he was eating Alvera, though.
That's
Yeah.
You stole the words right out of my
That's
mouth.
part
Well,
of the-
yeah,
on the-
I mean, come on, we all know
On the
that.
washing
Also,
machine.
also that move
But that's
is
a creep ass move to do. Like, the kids, he's got not just his kid, but his neighbor kid is in the basement, and you're just gonna like.
You gotta
do
get it in when you gotta get it in,
where
Brian.
they
You
can
gotta
walk
get it in.
up. That's fucked up.
But
He's
also,
hanging out with that
she was-
Ruski again.
But
But also,
that move is a boyfriend move, though.
Yeah.
Because if you do that to your wife, if you stretch out her panties that way, you're not gonna hear the end of it. Like, you fucked up my panties. Now I need new panties.
But,
Also,
like,
Just taking it
also,
off.
that
Just-
move I just found really ridiculous, being that like it was all of a minute, and then she was like, "Nah, I don't want this."
I just caught something funny.
like she wasn't into it.
I don't know if anyone remembers this fucking scene, but it made me like pause it for a second. I was like, wait, what? Okay, Vera Farmiga, the whole scene in the beginning with her on the washer, and then she walks on the stairs. Her thong's just out the whole time.
Yeah, it's
So little,
great.
little Russian boy sees it, we see it, we enjoy it. But do you remember the scene where Paul Walker's driving his son around? Okay, little Russian boy goes and shoots his stepfather and runs away, which starts this whole movie of finding this goddamn gun. But there's a scene where Paul Walker takes his son, I think it's like midnight or just late as shit, out to find the kid, and they stop at a strip club. And then the little kid's like, "Is there really little naked girls in there?" And the guy's like, Paul Walker's like, "You'll find out one day." And he's like, "I've seen mom naked. It's not a big deal." And I was like, wait, hold on. Like, they
I guess
definitely
he's like
they
young
did that
enough.
watcher shit way more times than we.
No, I always found that. I guess he was like young enough, like to be like, oh, like that's my reference. But he also, a kid that age thinking that way wouldn't.
No, put the two and two together. He's like a day away from puberty.
Yeah, it's not like a 3. It's not like a 3 or 4-year-old being like, yeah, like I take a bath and like.
So in
I'll
Jersey,
sit
they
there.
in
He's
Jersey
like
strip
10 or
club, they
11.
go full naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the thing in Jersey, full naked.
Good for you guys.
So basically, like, they do that. Kid shoots his dad, goes and runs away with the gun. Now Paul Walker has to find the gun because all of
He
his
was
mob.
supposed to have gotten rid of it because it's evidence in this murder of this cop.
And then somehow
the
the cop.
dirty cop.
Yeah. Then So then.
Well, then Chaz Palminteri's on his tail because he was one of the
Yes.
dirty cops, and it's his team that got killed.
They
Oh,
had masks on.
Are you gonna bring up the superhero hobo?
Oh, yeah, did
what?
that dude have shadow powers? Did he teleport?
What was that?
It scared. I remember it was. Like
I forgot
creepy.
all about that. Yeah, there was a shadow hobo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
And Lester the molester or whatever. The
Oh, that
pimp
was.
Yeah.
with
that
the
was-
Oh yeah, you got to bring up the pimp.
with the
That guy.
hooker of the heart of gold.
Yeah,
Discount radio.
We got all this. All this is in the one movie.
Josh.
We haven't even got to the crazy pedophile couple yet.
That's
No,
the
we'll
best
save
part
them
of the
for
movie.
last because I
Yeah.
didn't realize who the mom was, or the pedophile mom was. But
I still don't.
I'll tell you in a second. I'll be like, holy shit, this movie is nuts. And I remember, it must have been in college, and I was talking. I was like, "This movie's fucking like wild." Like I'm like, "This movie's great." I remember we watched it, and someone, I can't remember who, was like, "This was so dumb. Everything just happened of coincidence. It was too coincidental for all this shit to happen." And I remember like, "Your logic makes no sense. Just watch the movie." But then the other times, I remember, was introduced this like the year it was on DVD. My cousin lived in Italy, like did a summer semester in Italy, so he didn't see a bunch of movies, and he was like a cool cousin who like, you looked up to and was like, "Oh yeah, like Mark knows his shit, like he's an artist and everything." And I remember when we went over, and he was like, "Movie of the year." He was like, "It's just the story of a kid and his gun." And I was like, "Yeah." And we watched. I was like, "Holy shit, Mark's right. I love this fucking movie."
Well, and this is like right in the era of Boondock Saints, Training Day.
Yeah.
It's all about vigilante like justice and cops being dirty to get the job done, and like but like this is to the extent of like nobody is fucking likable in this movie. Like you cannot care about anyone. Even the fucking kid isn't likable.
You know the poll quote.
Oh yeah, he's abusing. What's the poster?
Do you guys want to know the poll quote on the poster?
Yeah.
Makes Kill Bill look like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Pete Hammond, Maxim.
Oh my god. Another small part of this fucking movie is at the same time, Paul Walker's attached to an Italian mob, and then the little kid's stepfather, half-father,
the guy he shot,
is attached to the Russian mob, and they're supposed to be making a giant deal together in Newark because that's where you do it if you're fucking a boss of any kind. So there's that whole background too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I guess the hockey rink was supposed to. I guess they were supposed to be the Devils.
Yeah, the Razors or something.
Razors, yeah, the NJ Razors. But also, I think that was just like a stupid XFL style NHL. Because also the hockey players were
in the mob too.
The Russian mob.
Yeah.
So the whole time I'm watching it, I was like, "What the fuck?" I forgot the entire time about the neon floor.
The neon hockey scene. I always thought was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's one of those like the fight, like the action is bad, like the choreography of it doesn't make sense, and who's getting shot and where and from what gun, and it's like you can tell it is very much that like, we'll do Kill Bill, we'll do even more violent, even more bloody, and like we're gonna do these big gory shotgun blasts and stuff, but like you don't feel anything about it because you don't give a fuck about any of these characters or anything. Like it's
one of the biggest like tropes. I was like, it just the guy like kidnapped it, like when he's talking to Paul Walker and he has them all hostage, the stereotypical Italian guy, and he shoots his like other partner in the head, and I was like, then why aren't you just killing Paul Walker right now? What service are?
Also, that's what's his face from The Walking Dead.
Not the kid.
Yeah, the guy from The Walking Dead. Sure.
He kind of looks like Sean Astin. If you told me that was Sean Astin,
I looked down for a second when the kid was running away, and does he hide in a van where the other kids are, and that's how he gets kidnapped?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And they're like, "Oh, we got another one, sweet."
That's the creepiest thing is the kid gets into the van, hides next to obviously a bunch of toys, and then when they open the door, there's just two kids in the background, silent as shit,
dude. That is the most effective, like, if you were to segment this into, like, I think different movies, that's the most effective movie.
Yeah.
Veer Farmiga saving.
Yeah, but that's the thing, it also doesn't have, it just, like, it comes out of nowhere and doesn't make any sense. No. And also, this movie's 2 fucking hours, and that scene did not need to be in there.
No.
Oh, like, it's so better than it
was. The score changes to being, like, this, like carnival kid score, but when I was watching, I was like, "Who's that mom? She looks so like familiar." Or not mom, pedophile lady or whatever.
Yeah, the pedophile. Her mom. We didn't really explain it. He gets kind of accidentally kidnapped by these creep pedophiles who already have 2 kids, and they go back to their weird, fancy apartment where they have this crazy toy room with plastic on the floor and a video camera that looks like it's made out of Tinker Toys and shit.
Oh, dude!
And they're crazy pedophile murderers.
Well, they kidnapped 2 kids. They're not. They're kids.
No, they're not their kids, but the kids are already there when he gets in. Like, they just are there.
And then when Vera gets there, you hear, I'm not gonna touch it. Get
Yeah.
away from me. Ah, the little shit bit me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and then they're
So,
putting on robes and stuff. So there was already some, and then I mean,
so he
Vera
bit
finds
his dick.
like where there's discs of all these different kids, and there's like equipment to dismember bodies and body bags
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's some
Yeah.
grim ass
Plastic.
shit for sure.
So the mother was Mrs. Claus, the love interest in the Santa Claus
Oh
2,
yes. Yes, she
which
was.
I thought was
Yeah.
hysterical in retrospect
Yeah.
because what
Those
a dick.
two roles, right?
Yeah, I
Also-
mean, if Santa is a racist, why can't Mrs. Claus be a pedophile?
I
A
don't know.
pedophile
That,
murderer.
it's one of those bleak things where you're like, it's too slick to even have a joke about, like a scene about. I feel like.
Well, what was like?
I mean, I
behind the-
I will agree that that's probably the most effectively done portion of the
Yeah.
movie, but also it doesn't belong in this movie. It shouldn't be there at all.
No,
it's like
there's-
weird and it's just there to give Vera Farmiga something to do, I guess. Like
Wow,
It
that
would
makes me think-
also look like a badass.
That makes me think of the reveal then, because she has that. So basically, Vera Farmiga, the kid locks herself in the bathroom, calls Vera Farmiga. Which, okay, here's another thing: prescription bottles don't have your address on them, just your name, right, and your dosage.
I think maybe there was a time
No.
when they would put your address on
I
prescription
think
bottles.
no, they have your
Yeah.
they have your address on them.
Okay, weird.
but-
Probably didn't do that.
I think what's great about that scene actually,
What is
or
the
that,
shadow?
just that segment, oh, the Freddy Krueger shadow,
Yeah.
just that segment.
It's a
I think it was
hobo.
supposed to be. Is that Vera Farmiga does teach you one thing to bring to life is look around to see if there's photos of people living as a family in their apartment to see if they're fucking weirdos or not.
Yeah.
I always thought that was really effective.
But also,
that was a
at
good
some point,
reveal.
that if that guy was a murderer, he probably would have knocked her out as she's running around frantically without watching behind her back the whole time. But
Oh,
also,
God.
she admits to her husband that she murdered two people. You know, as granted as it is, she murdered two people. At the time, you don't realize, he's a fucking hand for the mob. But then you think about it, he's like, oh, she just admitted herself to, like, it's somewhere in his brain, he's got to have some type of, like,
Yo, so
code.
She's gonna be the killer.
I forgot to do this, which I normally do when I'm watching something. I pulled up the trivia, and one revealing thing, this was supposed to be Thomas Jane originally cast.
Oh, okay.
He would probably been better.
Yeah.
Kind of the same energy.
Quentin Tarantino left a voicemail on Paul Walker's answering machine when he was when the opening weekend, saying he really enjoyed the movie and was really happy with it, and that made Paul Walker not feel so bad because it bombed so hard.
I mean, Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4.
Yeah, he's got a quote on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Of the movie.
Hey man,
Yeah,
everybody
running
makes
scared
mistakes.
so far over the top. I am in awe.
So I wanted to make a joke about the inhaler because that's one of the tropes that I fucking hate in movies. And that if you keep, like, obviously if you keep abusing the inhaler, you are fucking up your lungs with the thing. So I went to, like, I Googled abusing inhaler, and then I found a bunch of articles that say, is the inhaler the new gateway drug? Like, kids are using it to get high. I was like,
Watch out,
How-
Joe Biden's gonna steal that
Yeah.
and use it on the campaign trail.
I have no clue that you could get. I mean, I've been using inhalers since I'm a 9. I've never gotten a high off of fucking inhalers. So I don't know what they are. inhaling.
Nerd.
The only other thing I think I see on this that I do find interesting, we were just talking about the pedophile scene. It's heavily inspired on the motif of being Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wait, so Yusuf, you've never gotten high off your inhaler?
No.
Like Devon Sawa and Idle Hands, just smoke weed through it.
I still got to
mean,
finish
that's not
Devon
medicine.
Sawa's-
I mean, that's medicine, but not
It is
medicine.
medicine. Yeah, I don't know
I
what
got
you're
to
talking
It's not
finish
medicine,
Devon
but medicine.
Sawa's
You know,
The
medicine.
Fanatic. And I watched 20 minutes of John Travolta in The Fanatic, and let me tell you, it is very similar to Joker. It's actually hysterical. Just so everyone is aware.
I'm never gonna watch The Fanatic or Joker.
No, you shouldn't. But he does
give me-
play. He does play like watching John Travolta play like mentally challenged. is hysterical and offensive. it's so offensive.
Never go full.
He
So
went
how about we run back to the movie?
Sorry.
I'm
Well,
running
I think
scared.
do we need to cover the end just a little bit?
Yeah.
You know, it all we don't need to hash it out every like stupid
wish-
movie trope, but at
I
the
wish
end
they
it's like he's getting beat up, he's gonna get killed, his boss won't stand up for him, they have a big fucking shootout, but it's revealed that Paul Walker this whole time, not a cop, an FBI agent.
Yeah, man.
Because it's
also
the FBI that shows up at the end, like, oh man, we lost contact with you, dude. But like, okay, I was like, I'm watching this. I'm like, so they want me to believe that the whole time the person I've been watching has been a FBI agent.
you're
This
white
guy,
deep, man.
like,
murder to you.
like, okay, now maybe I would buy the fact that he held onto that gun as evidence, but that little hidey hole in his house was also full of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was also
That
full
dude is
of
dirty
other
as
guns.
fuck. No, there was
was-
money in
it
there
was-
too.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
but it was full of evidence, as if
Also-
he's just holding on
Yeah, but
to
you
it.
don't turn
Why-
turn that shit over. You don't hold it in
give
your
it
house.
to give it to
That-
the.
no, you would just
That
keep.
that's money that he's stealing. Like that's
Also, on my like third or fourth watch of this in my life, the fact that I also thought was ridiculous about him being a FBI agent is, he wouldn't be wearing a like that deep undercover where you've
would
gotten
be a
married.
wire
and
like
had- you've gotten married and had a child, so assumingly you've been undercover for like 7 years.
Yeah.
You would not have a
That-
wire on. They would just
mean, that-
believe your notes.
That kid is like 9 or 10.
I don't think the kid's his kid though. I think it's
Oh.
Vera Farmiga's kid. But I also like that he bought
Ooh.
so hard into his trash cover that he married a trash. Like he was like telling her as you think he's gonna die because he's shot. And that's another stupid fake out they pulled because I kept waiting to see how the kid was gonna get hurt, and it wasn't the kid, it was Paul Walker. It's like, shut up. I hate
Well,
you.
it's not like because it's not like it's like which is a real life story, but it's not like it's Donnie Brasco
right.
where like
yeah.
it's like, well, yeah, like most people undercover. Like another cousin of mine, like he was undercover, like doing heroin deals.
It's Brasco.
Wife and kids lived a normal life. Like you don't live 24/7
Right.
undercover.
You don't marry a woman who's like from the shitty trash world that you like, and then like it's so stupid. And then he fakes his own fucking death at the end.
But was it with the FBI, or even the FBI think he's dead?
No, because they I think it's just a show funeral. And my favorite thing, it happens at the very end. It's just barely. She brings him the folded flag. If you know anything, you know any servicemen, and you know how important the flag folding ceremony is.
So important.
They bring it.
just
She brings it to him, and he literally just chucks it out of frame like a frisbee. He's like,
Even when
onto the ground, like he just threw it in the dirt.
That's what I'm saying. Even before like the after his funeral and she gets it, she gets in the car with the 2 kids. She just throws it in the front seat, and I was like,
I knew
just-
immediately. I was like, he's not fucking
Really
dead.
selling
He's
that
not
one.
that
I was like,
good.
maybe she's
That's
mad
why
at him still. Jeez.
No, because they do the whole like, don't you play that again on me, and it's like,
Yeah.
this has been months.
He's working on this fucking stupid Mustang that was
Well,
perfectly.
they bought that ranch
stacked.
with all the money he stole from those drug dealers that he had in his basement.
I like
Oh.
I like
But
I
I'm just
like
saying,
the
like, just telling me at the end that he's an FBI agent doesn't make me forget that he's been a fucking piece of shit. Like, literally every frame of this movie. We didn't even talk about when he goes to the dude's house when he's looking for the gun, and he's screaming at that woman holding a crying baby, and he's pointing a fucking gun right at this baby's head. Like, tell me where the fucking gun is. Tell me where the fucking gun is.
That's
And like,
that's
that's the hero of our movie, my man.
Dude,
Like,
I wish I just want to talk. I want to talk just briefly about Chaz Palminteri and whatever you say.
I don't know what it is.
He is such a Goomba. Like,
he's one of those ones, and in this movie you can tell they only had him for like a day. He's in 2 locations, you know, he just like walks through a couple scenes.
That's a quote. I'll tell you what, he says one thing in this movie that stuck with me since I've seen it, and I never say it, but I think it all the time. It's like, Have a Mai Tai on me, boys.
Or when they use that, what was the start
Oh,
of
he
the
used the N-word all the time? Yeah, that was
Well,
weird.
same guy, same dude who dropped the N word.
With the always with the hardest of R's.
hardest of R, where
Like,
he does the priceless
Mastercard
commercial.
priceless.
Yeah, the price. He's like so and so Semtex.
oh my god, I couldn't believe that the big climax of their movie was a reference to a commercial that nobody fucking remembers. I was cracking up.
I forgot about the priceless commercials.
Oh god.
Oh, let's go into the ratings phase.
Ratings phase.
Yes.
I'll start.
Brad.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
okay.
right, Joe. TJ. All right, I'm gonna give it 3 inhalers out of 10.
That's fair.
It made me hate 17-year-old me a little bit more than I used to. So
Yeah,
I also didn't talk about the ugly editing and the shooting style is trash. This is like Smoking Aces. It's like and then it's like
Smoking Aces.
David Fincher with a
Exactly
brain
what it-
tumor. It keeps like moving around and doing all this weird camera moves.
Smoking Aces.
no, how he filmed the stepdad. All his scenes were like this.
Smoking Aces also a January release.
I love that
Just-
movie.
That makes sense. That tracks.
You shouldn't watch that again.
Love that movie.
Brian, where did you land?
Oh yeah, this is real bad. Like I said, it looks bad. All the characters are awful. It's like totally just mean spirited and like, and in that like, and also just like that core element of like, it's okay for cops to do whatever as long as they end up murdering the bad guy in the end. Like no matter how bad they treat everybody else or how much they hurt people or how shitty they are as human beings, they're still a hero at the end.
That's what I'm
This
saying.
movie fucking
His
sucks.
wife. His
I
wife.
give it. I give it like 3, and that's basically for the pedophile scene that shouldn't even be in the movie. Like it's its own interesting little moment that I kind of was like, it caught my attention, but the rest of this is just fucking trash. It's awful.
Again, she murders 2 people and tells an FBI agent, nothing, no repercussions.
Nah, no repercussions. It's fine.
No,
She gets a flag.
Yeah.
Joe, where are you going?
All right. So I think I do enjoy this more than you guys, so I can't be dishonest. But it's lower. Put it this way, it's lowered a lot. So can I give you my original score if I were to score it?
Like if we'd asked you when TJ announced it, and you just thought you remembered it, what would you have scored it off the top of your head?
I would have scored it like a 7.4. If when TJ announced. Now, after rewatching it and not even watching it with a critical eye, just watching it and be like, ugh.
Watching it kind of like, ugh.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 5.7 Lester Molesters.
Yeah, we didn't talk enough about Lester Molester, really.
What does he say? I'm a Mac Daddy pimp, motherfucker.
I'm a Mac Daddy pimp.
Yeah.
That must.
Pimp shouldn't. Oh yeah, he's like a discount radio. But pimp shouldn't hit their product in the face. You're like that's kind of like your
yeah. You don't
that's
mess
your
up
selling.
the face. You gotta sell that. Yeah, it's
just
terrible.
punch him in the ribs or something.
No, but he was gonna murder her and take her boobies out. That's what he was doing.
He was already on the Barrett too. He was already gonna mangle her.
That pimp was like at a diner at like 6 a.m. Like he'd be asleep.
No, that was the Pulp Fiction thing. The whole wrap around to a diner. You know what I mean? This guy loved Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good catch.
Am I the last ratings guy?
Yeah, we're waiting on you, TJ. This is your time, baby.
This movie, if you would have asked me before, I probably would have gave this movie a clean 8, probably. But now I saw. Yeah,
I get it.
It's about 5 Russian abused prostitutes for me. You know, nothing more.
Oh yeah. Did I mention it? Oh, I did. I talked about how the mom's suicide. She blows herself up in a meth lab.
So excited. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't forget about that shit.
But Brian's not wrong in this sense. There's so much in this movie to talk about in the sense of like you could listen to a whole podcast of just like what the fuck. Like this is a how did this get made?
This is a how did this get made movie. I would agree with that for sure.
Like,
running scared.
I actually, though, I do recommend this. Like, I know we don't normally do recommendations or not, but I recommend someone watching this movie if you are looking for a movie to go, huh? Wait, Paul? No.
Just see if you can find the kidnapping scene on YouTube and watch that.
First of all, it's
probably
2
sooner.
fucking hours long. It's obscenely long.
All right,
2 hours
Brian.
and 10 minutes.
You're
Brian, what are we watching
Oh.
next week?
Oh, okay. I gotta do a little terrible trivia, guys. We'll do just a quick couple rounds. I'm gonna ask some questions. They're really bad and probably too easy because this trivia game sucks. If anybody's ever seen it, so I don't know. We'll just see if maybe we'll do it first person to get one wrong. But if you think you're faking it, I'll make you keep going. So you better
Yeah,
not
but
fuck around.
What do you have? Movies attached to us to win?
I have movies attached to each one of you already here on my phone, pre-selected. 3 very different movies.
Oh, boy.
So let's start with Youssef. Youssef, true or false? The film name Das Boot is translated to the boat in English.
False.
No, that's true.
Oh.
Das Boot means the boat.
I thought it meant a boot.
Damn,
Yeah, me
so
too.
You're down one already, I guess. All right, Joe.
Mm.
True or false? Since Tinkerbell was often in the air, Julia Roberts, for the movie Hook, had an assistant whose sole responsibility was cleaning her feet.
True.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. All right. TJ, true or false?
She
Chuck
could have
Norris.
had a Das Boot.
True or
Good
false?
job.
Chuck Norris voices Kung Fu Master Crocodile in Kung Fu Panda 2.
True.
No, that's false.
Damn it. I didn't even see that movie.
Well, since we're going to keep it tight and both of you missed your questions, we'll give it to Joe. All right, Joe. Good job. One terrible trivia.
That was better than the last time. We went for like 10 minutes.
I know it. I know it. Now, the movie I have attached to Joe's name is going to come with just a touch of homework, too. I'm sorry.
Oh, fucking Joe.
You're going to have to watch a movie, and then I'm also going to ask you to watch a 20-minute, online video.
Okay.
The
Is it a
movie is the
video essay?
1980s, what I would consider classic Red Dawn, starring
Yes.
Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen and the kid from
Josh
another
Peck.
movie from the 80s. There's a lot of people in it. Powers Booth
The
is in it.
Outsiders,
Jennifer
yeah.
Grey. Yeah,
Das
they're all
Boot.
there.
Josh Peck.
Yeah, sure.
From the
Chris
remake.
Hemsworth.
But anyway, now the reason this came to my mind is that because there's a channel I follow on YouTube, Renegade Cut, smart guy, does a lot of very interesting videos, and he had a video about Red Dawn. And he was talking about the kind of more right-leaning political views of the movie and how a lot of movies have this on accident, but this movie has it kind of there on purpose. He talks a little bit about the director. So just I want you to watch that video also. You can watch it before, you can watch it all. It's the Renegade Cut is the YouTube channel. He's got a, it's about Red Dawn. I forget what the video is called, but you'll be able to find it. It won't be that hard.
That'd be interesting because
You
it's
can watch it
also
before,
like
you can watch it after. It's just a perspective. This is a movie that I've loved as a teenager, but everybody knows I'm a fucking lefty cuck snowflake. So like to have it kind of envisioned in my mind, it's like, can a movie hold up after something like that when you know the intent and stuff? So I kind of want to, not that I want that to be the whole discussion, but I just want everybody to kind of have that in their mind as something to think about as we're taking a peek at this. Like I said, an old favorite of mine. So
We should consider doing a political podcast.
No, I'd rather kill myself actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
no.
Then next week,
sorry.
Brian.
Shooting myself in the head.
All right. Next week we get Brian's Red Dawn.
Perfect.
It's exciting. Thank you, TJ, for making me hate myself a little bit more. Can the people find everybody?
At TJ Dex on Twitter. You're on Flyover to the Film YouTube. Thanks for subscribing, liking, commenting. Do that, Ryan, Steph, and Ryan.
And maybe a third person if we're
maybe
lucky.
a third.
Hey, write a review if you want.
Comment down below if you're a third person.
If you're another
Joe.
person.
Joe, where can people find you?
You can find me at Chendago1 on Twitter. Generally, just as I say, just being a dickhead.
Yeah. Me too. I do that too. You can find me on Twitter at Herskilles, also being a dickhead. I kind of even look like one.
I'm fairly nice on Twitter if you want to. And wildlovemovies.com. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.